Alright, welcome to Northwoods Renaissance. You've been farting around reviewing what constituted acceptable children's humor back in 1986. I have been putting together a number of different ways to effectively load what would constitute a somewhat stubborn semi-automatic pistol. So, let's explore some methods from the hardest to the easiest for people who might have weaker hands, haven't been doing their exercises, maybe been farting around in the basement too much. You know, we can't all be born tough guys. You know, maybe we were a tough guy, we got old. It happens. And I kind of get the inkling that pistols were built with men in mind until quite recently. So, we'll do a couple tips and tricks and figure out a few workarounds to most easily get that slide to cooperate and get this pistol loaded. And before we start farting around too much, let's safety check this bad boy. Well, that would be a chore in and of itself if we're having trouble manipulating the slide, but we'll get to that. Alright. Standard method. You take your pistol, insert your magazine, all snap caps there, grab by the serrations, and rack the slide. Now, it's got a loaded chamber indicator there. So some people suggest you push with the right hand while you pull with the left, and technique can make racking a slide a lot easier. But there's a couple other ways you can do it. And, you know, this is a 380 that's a blowback, so it's a little stiff. So, next method. For the next option, if we want to rack this thing, make it a little easier, you put the safety off and pull back the hammer. So now we're not fighting the spring tension from the hammer. Give it a yank, and that was substantially easier. Alright, moving on. This one might take a little setup. Bear with me. No, I probably just spent the last 15 minutes looking for that snap cap because, you know, it's not mine and got to keep things in order. So, to keep things interesting for you, also, let's change up the Garbage Pail Kid selection. Let's see if I can find some more that wouldn't be necessarily up to today's standards, but still timelessly humorous. Stand by. Alright, you guys can come with me. So, here's a holy grail, one of the plus-size ones. We've got gun violence, drug abuse, the alternate version of this fella playing the brown note, pervert, and what's the word I'm looking for? Not insanguination. That'd be, come on, man, there's a magic card. Immolation, that's the one. Nice one, Joel. Let's get that so it doesn't have the glare on it. Sorry about that. As a follow-up for the last portion, once you chamber your round, you can turn the safety off. That'll activate the decocker. And then if you want to carry it and not have the safety on and take advantage of the long pull, then you can set the safety back off. Now, as I mentioned in the Bersa Thunder video, this thing's a little persnickety when the safety is on and you try and charge it. If you don't really slingshot it, it's going to hang up out of battery. And I did it rather slow there to make sure it did it, but I mean, it's still fighting me a little bit. You gotta give it a whack. Even that doesn't necessarily make it want to participate. Anyway, so in order to avoid that, I've got another method for you. Alright, take the pistol, take an empty magazine, pop it in there, and because this pistol has a lockback on the last round, now locks open, you can drop your empty, grab your, in this case, loaded magazine with snap caps, load that in there, and then you can either slingshot it, and it'll go into battery, or you can just press the slide release, and it should perform the same. There we are. And for the sake of completeness and demonstration, let's do that one more time. And in this case, we'll put it all together. Got our safety off, cock the hammer, put in a empty magazine, which, as you remember, is going to lock the pistol open. Charge it, locked open, drop the magazine. And that one's the aftermarket one, it's a little stiff. This is the factory insert. And if you slam this thing hard, it's going to go into battery all on its own. I don't know if that's a feature. It's heard it's common amongst these pistols. There you go, one loaded pistol. Safety on, decocked, off, ready to go in the holster with the long pull. And since we're leaving no stone unturned, let's show it the slingshot as well. Safety off, hammer back, empty magazine in, charge, pulls open, drop the empty, take the full, insert. Alright, well, we didn't hit it hard enough, so it didn't go into battery, and slide didn't go forward. And for whatever reason, maybe we got an owie on our thumb. We don't want to do the slide release. Some people think it's just a slide stop and not a release. Whatever. We don't have to deal with all that. So we'll just slingshot it. Pull back, and don't ride it forward. Just release it. Slingshot it forward. And there's our chamber indicator. Success. All right, folks. Let's imagine you really let yourself go, right? Your hand strength is not what it once was, or perhaps what it ever was. And you're out of options. Maybe you hate revolvers. In my case, I had a case head explode in my revolver and jammed up the whole thing. So that kind of soured me to revolvers. Or, maybe you can't afford a new pistol, or it's just not important to you. Well, we're going to make it work. So we're going to get these babies out of the way. And we are going to introduce, this is just a soup can, any 90-degree angle that's sufficiently rigid and longer than the slide will work. And this fellow may look familiar to you. Check out the C-die marker video. So we'll use that to protect the finish of the gun. So, once again, we'll insert the empty. We're going to take advantage of the magazine lockback. We're going to put it on fire, cock the hammer so it's the least amount of tension possible. And it's for the sake of interest, since we're going to have to point this thing at the camera, I don't want you guys to get skittish. See that it is unloaded. So what you have to do is take the corner of the can, or whatever your rigid 90-degree angle is, and we got the barrel there, and then we've got the portion that flares out from the slide. If we put the slide portion and not the barrel on there and push, you can put all your weight into that. You have a locked open slide, and requires nary any hand strength whatsoever. So there you go. Drop your empty mag. Oh man, this thing's stubborn. And take what we're simulating as our full magazine. Pop it in there. And we're in business. So there you go. That's a variety of ways to load the Bersa Thunder. And I'll do a couple bonus methods in a second as well that can work with the Glock. All right. So what we couldn't do with the Bersa, if you look at the rear sights on this thing, they're just tiny little things, and you can't catch them on anything. But if you have the stock Glock sights, or in this case I've got the factory adjustables on this guy, you can catch that sight on your belt, your pocket, seen in your jeans. In fact, you can just jam it up into your jeans in a fold of the fabric and push down, and that'll open it. So I got the magazine in here to take advantage of the last round hold open. Here's a belt. And presto. Locked open. Ready for a magazine change. You don't have to have it. You can have the fresh magazine in there and just go with it straight away. Anyway, so there you have it. Your bonus method. Why don't we roll in some Bersa shooting footage since we got the option anyway, right? I'm pretty sure I promised you some Bersa Thunder extra footage. So I got 2 apples and 2 empty aerosol cans in there. Let's do it. Alright, so Bersa Thunder, loaded for people of any hand strength. We'll see you soon.